Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I am your melanated queen. And today, as promised, we will be discussing the Kissinger report. I thought if this topic was extremely prevalent, especially to our melanated beings out there who may not be interested in reading the National Security Study memorandums. So it is, for those of you who are not aware, this was declassified by the government not until July 3rd, 1989. And it was actually written into effect on December 10th, 1974. So for many of you all, like I said in my prior video, this was before a lot of us was even alive. So before we begin, I would just like to say that das Wetter ist regnet, okay? That means the weather is raining. So right now I'm sitting in the car. Normally you all like to come to the park to address you all, like to breathe in that fresh air. But unfortunately, I did not make it out of the house in time. I am doing in-school home tutoring and homeschooling. So that does actually take up some of my time here. But anyway, I digress. And what I wanted to talk about, I think this is so important, is because this really does affect us all. Oh yes, let me give you another phrase. Heute ist Freitag. That means today is Friday. Wie geht es Ihnen? Hope you're all doing well. And what I just asked you is, how are you doing? That's the formal way of saying, how are you doing? And you could always respond and say, ich bin gut. I am good, you know? So that's just a little German phrase, a few little phrases for you auf Deutsch. But anyway, let's get into this Kissinger report, because many people are not even aware that they are under attack. Many people were not aware that they were under attack before they were born. If you are melanated, you already know how it is out here. And so excuse me for looking down at my phone right now. But I thought I have to go over this information, and I am not privy to how to make the videos with split screen. I'm still learning how to work a lot of the electronic devices, you all. So, okay. But anyway, it's best to get the information than to not get it at all. And so what better way to get it from than your melanated queen right here? Okay. And this Kissinger report discusses, you all, depopulation, and it also discusses reproduction, and they're trying to figure out how to make people sterile. So excuse me if I look away for time to time, because there is another car out here, and I have to be careful because, like I said, melanin is on the market. Okay, he's pulling off. So don't laugh, you all, because I will put this car in drive and I will hit someone. I will run right over you. Okay, and claim self-defense. Yep, I'm seeing it right here on camera. Minerals and fuel, confidential. Okay, let's get into the topic that affects us all. I'm scrolling, you all. I'm scrolling. It says confidential. Oh, he's coming this way? He's coming. Let's find out what's about to go on. Why is he coming this way? Being nosy, because you can go out the other way. Look, she looking over here. Oh, it's a female. 1, 2. It's like 3 of them in the car. They're leaving. Whatever. You know how they be nosy. World Population Conference. Okay, that's chapter 5. Why do they need a World Population Conference? Okay, who made anyone in charge of the world's population other than our creators, our divine creators on top of that? The plan of action, you all. Despite the initial attack and continuing efforts to change the conceptual basis of the World Population Plan of Action, the conference adopted by acclamation only the Holy See staking a general reservation, a complete World Population Plan of Action. It is less urgent in tone than the draft submitted by the UN Secretariat, but in several ways more complete and with greater potential than that draft. The final action followed a vigorous debate with hotly contested positions and 47 votes. Nevertheless, there was general satisfaction among the participants at the success of their efforts. Okay, so they have been talking about population control as far back as the 1800s. If you're not familiar with, I think his name was David Rockefeller, he actually was speaking about this in public, about how he wanted to control the world's population. So what you've seen with the COVID virus is just another way for them to try to implement that control, you all. What you see with the wars, what you see with the fake terror attacks, that's another way to get us to send troops over there to kill them. And it's so unfortunate because I remember when the Iraq war took place back in 2003, those they were so young. They were probably like 19, 20 years old during that time, and they were around my age when they got sent to the war. And I remember when they tried to draft me straight out of high school, and I looked at them and I'm like, look at me. They were like, yeah, look at you. No, you're not recruiting me. You're not sending me somewhere, having me in a war, being under attack. I don't care what you pay for. My life is not worth your agenda, because the army, the military, unfortunately, they use a lot of people from the military and chew them and spit them out after they get the best years, the best of their health. And then they send them to the VA hospitals where they do more experiments on them, more experimental drugs, more experimental surgeries. And it's so unfortunate. So when you find a lot of military veterans trying to finagle the system, this is why. So I don't feel bad, because really when it comes to the U.S. government and the military resources and the money, like that money is almost infinite, you all. They get that there's no limit to what they want to spend the money on. And if they feel the need to implement anything that has anything to do with their interest, they will find a way to get that situation funded. So when they say that we're running out of money and by the time we get to our 60s, we won't have Social Security, I wonder why. That doesn't make sense, that we pay Social Security taxes out of our checks right now, but then by the time we get that age, there will be no Social Security left. But yet they can fund wars, they can fund nuclear attacks, they can fund drones, they can fund bombs being sent all the way to another country for no reason at all. Just find all of this ironic, you all. And like I said, this is what you call financial embezzlement from the people. For us to pay taxes and for our money to be delegated to places that we have nothing to do with and no final say so over any of it, that's robbery when you really look at it. All right, and so I'm just going through this document. Like I said, it's 123 pages, you all. So I should have already had the information pulled up before I started, so I could start where we wanted to start. But nonetheless, we'll continue to move on. I hope everyone's doing well out there. Listen to this. Pursuing development strategies that skew income growth toward the poor, especially rural development, focusing on rural poverty. Okay, this is on page 101 of 123. I think this is interesting, and I just saw this as I was scrolling. Income distribution and rural development. The higher a family's income, the fewer children it will probably have, except at the very top of the income scale. Okay, let's read that again. The higher a family's income, the fewer children it will probably have. Why do they care so much about how many children a family can have, as long as that family can take care of and support their children? It says, similarly, the more evenly distributed the income in a society, the lower the overall fertility rate seems to be, since better income distribution means that the poor, who have the highest fertility, have higher income. Thus, a development strategy which emphasizes the rural poor, who are the largest and poorest group in the most LDCs, would be providing income increases to those with the highest fertility levels. No LDC is likely to achieve population stability unless the rural poor participate in income increases and fertility declines. Okay, so how do you think that they plan on declining fertility? For a lot of melanated females, they are having hysterectomies. They're having their uteruses taken out. And a lot of this is being suggested by their doctors because I don't think it's a secret out here that a lot of melanated beings suffer from fibroids as well. And that can also be attributed to when they were getting relaxers put in their hair, the perms, because they wanted to have straight hair, because there was a stigma out there for females that had a certain texture hair. They would not receive certain type of jobs. There would be pressure put on them to look a certain way, to have a more European look. And it's nothing wrong if you'd like to straighten your hair. You can go with any look that you choose, but your natural beauty that you were sent here by the Creator should not be used against you because you have a more curly strand of hair, you have a more tight strand of hair. That is something that you can't control. And so to be, forced into changing your appearance just to fit the corporate standards is a form of discrimination. Okay, let's move on, everyone. Aid should continue its efforts to focus not just on agriculture and rural development, but specifically on small farmers, on labor-intensive means of stimulating agricultural output, and on other aspects of improving the quality of life of the rural poor, so that agriculture and rural development assistance, in addition to its importance for increased food production and other purposes, can have maximum impact on reducing population growth. Okay, so they tried to say this in a more fancy term, but basically what they're saying is they're trying to reduce population growth, and the way they're trying to do that is by attacking agriculture. And we know that there are a lot of farmers out here who produce a lot of food for people, and it's no secret that people have been found to try to grow their own food. The government doesn't want you to do that. The government does not want you to have your own gardens. They want you to rely on them for their food, because if you rely on them for your food, then you're completely dependent. When you are dependent on someone, they can control your life, especially when they control something as important as your food intake, when they control every means of your life. They have total control over you, and that's what's going on right here. It says right here, confidential, concentration on education and indoctrination of the rising generation of children regarding the desirability of smaller family size. So they're already letting you know that they will indoctrinate us through education, and they've done a great job at doing that. Make no mistake at all, we've all been indoctrinated by the so-called education system, and it took us years to try to come out of that, and a lot of us still have these stigmas and these beliefs that have been placed into our head because the government has done this to us. And it is so upsetting to know that so much of our lives and time has been wasted because they want to play games strictly for population growth and to control the population. And how did they do that? They did it through just the things that we learn in school. Okay, it says present efforts at reducing birth rates in LDCs, including aid and UNFPA assistance, are directed largely at adults now in their reproductive years. Only nominal attention is given to population education or sex education in schools, and in most countries, none is given in the very early grades, which are the only attainment of 2/3 to 3/4 of the children. It should be obvious, however, that efforts at birth control directed toward adults will, with even maximum success, result in acceptance of contraception for the reduction of births only to the level of the desired family size, which knowledge, attitude, and practice studies in many countries indicate is an average of 4 or more children. The great necessity is to convince the masses of the population that it is to their individual and national interest to have, on the average, only 3 and then only 2 children. There is little likelihood that this result can be accomplished very widely against the background of the cultural heritage of today's adults, even the young adults among the masses in most LDCs. Without diminishing any way the effort to reach these adults, the obvious increased focus of attention should be to change the attitudes of the next generation, those who are now in elementary school or younger. If this could be done, it would be indeed possible to attain a level of fertility approaching replacement in 20 years and actually reaching it in 30. So They're basically, in so many words, saying they want to attack the youth, attack the children in elementary school like they've already done to us. And it's sad to see that happening. And they're trying to convince people to have less children. And what did our creator say? I believe the creator said, be fruitful and multiply. Okay, so they're going against actually what the creator has told us to do. So who made them in charge? Who made them the divine, omniscient, and all-knowing and all-seeing? So they're trying to play God, in a sense, by trying to depopulate this earth. This is sickening. So that's what you're seeing. This is how the COVID virus ties into it, because it's another attempt to depopulate. Bill Gates, has made no type of secret at all that this is something that he's working on and strategizing to do. Okay, so let's see what else they're trying to do, you all. The aid stimulates specific efforts to develop means of educating children of elementary school age to the ideal of the two-child family, and that UNESCO be asked to take the lead through formal and informal education. Sickening. It's just sickening, you all. This document goes into a lot of detail on things that they can do to try to work against people having kids. So like I said, when you think about the melanated females out here, so many of them have had hysterectomies. I wonder why. Who's been pushing that agenda? They're doctors. And if you actually look out at what is her name? Queen Afua, you all. That's her name, Queen Afua. If you all reach out to Queen Afua, she has an Instagram page. She's also on YouTube. She has many holistic ways on how to heal your reproductive system if you're having issues with having children, or if you're having like any other issues. Queen Afua is the way to go. You want to be natural and simplistic in your techniques on how to heal your body. You don't have to undergo surgery. You don't have to listen to a doctor telling you to take all these medications and drugs, which can do you more harm than good and cause all these side effects. You want to be as natural as possible in this world. That's why the creator put our herbs here. That's why the creator put the plants here, put the trees here, and put everything here is for our aid, our consumption, and to give us the ability to be prosperous and healthy. So there's nothing here that we cannot overcome. It's just that you have people like this written in this report, in this document, as you can see here, making things so difficult for us. And so they don't want us to succeed. I'm just scrolling along, so be patient with me, you all. All right, so then it talks about China. This is page 111. Exclusive of China, only 10 to 15% of LDC populations are currently effectively reached by family planning activities. If efforts to reduce rapid population growth are to be successful, it is essential that the neglected 85 to 90% of LDC populations have access to convenient, reliable family planning services. Moreover, these people, largely in rural but also in urban areas, not only tend to have the highest fertility, they simultaneously suffer the poorest health, the worst nutritional levels, and the highest infant mortality rates. I wonder why. I wonder why. When you have put people in such a bad socioeconomic status, when you have come to their territory and stripped them of their land, when you come to their land and have robbed them of their valuables, when you treat them as if they're the lowest on the face of this planet, when you shoot them down in the streets as if you're hunting animals, when you treat them as lower, as inhumane as possible, when you basically practice systematic discrimination and racism, I wonder why do they have all these health problems? When you keep them in lower income paid jobs, I wonder why do they have the lower socioeconomic status? So basically, because you have done these things to them and victimized people on their own land and territory, you then want to control their population growth and tell them that they are not worthy and tell them that they do not deserve the freedom to reproduce and multiply because you find them to be less desirable after what you have come and done to them on this land, in this territory, the Native Americans. Okay, make no mistake about it. There are melanated people out here who have owned acres upon acres upon acres of land. And do you know what has happened to their land? Let's take a stroll down memory lane and history class. Their land was taken away, their land was stolen from them, and their land was swindled away from them. So you want to write a report, a Kissinger report, and talk about how to depopulate these people after you've already robbed these people. Tell me, what is this if this is not anything other than tyranny and so much more? This report, you all, should actually be taught in school, which they won't do that because they just told you their whole point in education is to indoctrinate the people. So when they talk about indoctrination, what does that mean? They want you to think how they want you to think, and they're going to do that by only introducing you information to you that they want you to consume, so that you will believe it is the truth, and it is not the truth. Listen to your ancestors, listen to your grandparents about stories that have happened to them. Ask them about the family history, because that's where you're going to get your truth from, not in a history book that was written by someone other than what you look like. Okay, because they're not telling us the full truth, and we already know this. You all, this is such an insult to people. Let's keep going, because I'm just skipping through here, and it talks about worldwide abortion practices. Certain facts about abortion need to be appreciated, and this is on page 114. No country has reduced its population growth without resorting to abortion. Okay, and that is written here, you all. It is a declassified document. If you would like to read this, go to USAID, which is usaid.gov, and you can pull this right up. 30 million pregnancies are estimated to be terminated annually by abortion throughout the world. The figure is a guess. More precise data indicate about 7% of the world's population live in countries where abortion is prohibited without exception, and 12% in countries where abortion is permitted only to save the life of the pregnant woman. About 15% live under statutes authorizing abortion on broader medical grounds, that is, to avert a threat to the woman's health rather than to her life, and sometimes on eugenic. Okay, eugenic means you're attacking a certain ethnic group. Okay, you're trying to depopulate that ethnic group, and or judicial grounds, rape, etc. So if you were raped and you don't want to keep the baby as well. Countries where social factors may be taken into consideration to justify those allowing for elective abortion for at least some categories of women for 36%. No information is available for the remaining 8%. It would appear, however, that most of these people live in areas with restrictive abortion laws. The abortion statutes of many countries are not strictly enforced, and some abortions on medical grounds are probably tolerated in most places. It is well known that in some countries with very restrictive laws, abortions can be obtained from physicians openly without interference from the authorities. Conversely, legal authorization of elective abortions does not guarantee that abortion can on request is actually available to all women who may want their pregnancies terminated. Lack of medical personnel and facilities or conservative attitudes among physicians and hospital administrators may effectively curtail access to abortion, especially for economically or socially deprived women. Okay, so based on your economic status, based on your social status, they're saying that the hospital administrators may have or curtail access to abortion. So they're really not giving you a right to do what you want to do in that situation, because they base it on what they feel that applies to you socially or economically, is what they're saying. So this is some interesting information, you all. Let's keep on moving past this. Utilization of mass media and satellite communication systems for family planning. Okay, the potential of education and its various media is primarily a function of a target population where socioeconomic conditions would permit reasonable people to change their behavior with the receipt of information about family planning and the adequate development of the substantive motivating context of the message. While dramatic limitations in the availability of any family planning related message are most severe in rural areas of developing countries, even more serious gaps exist in the understanding of the implicit incentives in the system for large families and the potential of the informational message to alter those conditions. So I noticed they keep bringing up urban a lot. Who lives in urban areas? Take a guess, you all. We already know. Okay, so melanated people are highly targeted. And like I said, this report was written December 10th, 1974, which means if it was written then and put into place then, they had been thinking about this many years prior to that. So probably when your parents were alive, your grandparents were alive, they were putting these things into action and implementing these situations. Okay, they did not declassify this until 1984. So when they did that, they were already putting these things into place. So this stuff is in effect right now, and it is working. So this is why it's so important that you all read and do research, especially our melanated beings. And I know how people are so fascinated with Jordans. People are so fascinated with celebrities. People are so fascinated with music. And see, this is what I'm saying. They weaponize you by using the things that you're interested in because they've already studied you and your interests. They've studied you psychologically. They know your weaknesses because they've put the weaknesses in front of you so that they could give you a solution. And they know that your solution is watching celebrity gossip. So they're going to give you more of what you ask for so that you destroy your own selves. And it is so sad that people fall for this. When you know better, you're supposed to do better, okay? So there's no excuse for having the information and not executing with a plan, not taking this information and using it to your own benefit and gain. And there's no excuse for not educating your children about it. I know a lot of people out here, your children are not in school right now. It's just the beginning of May. School would have still been in effect. So what you need to be doing is educating your kids. I don't care. It's never too young to educate your children on the truth out here. And people like to prance and tap dance around the truth. They don't want their children knowing the knowledge that we know, but the later that they get this knowledge, the more prone they are to attack. And so the more you arm your children with knowledge about what's going on and the reality of this world, the more in tune they will be when it's time for them to go out here and face the world. So you're doing your child a disservice if you're trying to paint a picture that we live in a fairy tale, because we certainly do not. These people did not care about your children when they tried to put this report into action, okay? They are talking about depopulating your kids. So rather than not arming your children with knowledge, it's best to go ahead and give them as much knowledge as you can, because knowledge truly is power, you all. How many people have actually studied this report or talked about reading it or would actually be interested in knowing how the system is trying to kill you? Nobody. A lot of people don't even have an interest in this stuff, and that's dangerous. So you all, that is just what I wanted to talk about today. I apologize if this is not, well, I'm not going to apologize if this is not in your era of your interests. Then more power to you. Continue to go out there and care about what Nelly is talking about with Air Force Ones, that he was the one that made it popular. He doesn't own Air Force Ones. I believe that tennis shoe is made by Nike. Who owns Nike? I believe the Chinese do, or they make that shoe out in China, actually. So let me correct that. It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is we focus on such frivolous things in this community, and this needs to stop. You don't have the luxury to sit here and bicker back and forth about who made a tennis shoe popular, and for him to push that agenda at a time like this, it is sickening. It is disheartening that our melanated people have donated so much money to going to his shows, buying his concert tickets, buying his CDs, giving him support, following him on Instagram, doing all of these things for these rappers, these entertainers, and these celebrities, and yet and still none of them will come out and talk to you about anything like this, the Kissinger report. Nobody will do any research and tell you the real agenda of what's going on, because they're so focused on the comfort of their lives. They're so focused on what they have and what they have to lose, what you don't have, and what do you have to lose? Your life. Okay, so this is a very serious topic. I know the guy that was just shot by the son and the what are their names? The McMichaels. I know that situation just took place. Let's see how many celebrities are going to talk about that. And if they do talk about it, let's see what they say about it. Let's see how many people really care how they shot this guy, Mr. Arbery, down like he was basically a piece of meat, like they're hunting deer. because that's what they did. Anytime you take out a shotgun and shoot this guy multiple times, what did you think was going to happen? And he was unarmed. These are the type of topics that need to be addressed, not by only certain people, but by the celebrities who claim they care so much about your support. Where is the support, okay, when you have people getting slain each and every day by bullets? Where's the support then? Why don't they help the... And I'm back, you all. I want to know if any celebrities are going to go out there and help the families of this slain individual, Mr. Arbery. Are they going to help with his attorney fees? You know, are they going to speak out about how this needs to stop? What are they doing to help the situation other than trying to get viewership, other than trying to get you to tune into their Instagram pages, other than trying to get you to support them in any way they can, any way, shape, or form? All of these celebrities out here are simply that, entertainers. And so we will be speaking more about that. I did follow this information. It's called Out of Shadows, you all. And if you get a chance, check that information out. It's called Out of Shadows. You can actually look it up on YouTube. And it is a documentary that discloses how the system is so heavily involved in entertainment. It's not even funny. The entertainment industry has been heavily infiltrated by CIA agents. It is designed to attack your mind. And your mind is one of the most valuable and most powerful things you have in this world. Don't let people take over your mind. They are after your mind. Your mind is under attack constantly. Please be careful with what you feed your mind. And when I say feed your mind, what do you look at? What do you listen to? What do you consume? What do you imagine? What do you think about? You have to be very careful, because at every single second, your mind is under attack, and it is being influenced by all of the things in our lives each and every day. And like I said, this Kissinger report is just a stepping stone to what they have in store for people and what they have been having in store for people. So you all, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your energy and your attention and your focus. Melanated Queen says thanks to you all. I appreciate you tuning into me. I can't wait until I continue to expand on the knowledge with you all. And if you have any research, look into it, share it, because we all need as much information as we can. We need to be disclosing this information to everyone, and we need to take life, seriously, and also be graceful. Present yourself as a lady, present yourself as a female, present yourself as a queen. You don't have to go out here and pretend to be anybody you are not. That is not who the Creator designed you to be, and it's okay to be yourselves. I think education and knowledge is so powerful, you all. So I'm going to say this: all of my melanated queens, stay beautiful, stay the beauties that you are, stay the empowered queens that you are. Allow these kings to treat you accordingly, and I mean allow them to treat you like a queen. Don't let them disrespect you. Don't let them take advantage of you. Don't let them devalue you. Keep your power, and when he recognizes that queen, recognize him for being the king that he is. All of my melanated kings, stay the warriors that you are, and if you're in training to be a warrior, continue that growth. And protect these princesses out here, protect these princes out here, and continue to unite. Let's not tear each other down. If you don't agree with someone, it's okay to disagree, but let's be respectful in how we disagree with one another, and let's use our words. I'm going to tell you, like I tell the 6-year-old, I tell the 2-year-old, use your words, okay? There's no need to go out here bickering, crying, arguing. All of that is an embarrassment to our people, and we really don't need that right now at a time where we're under attack, you all. So everyone, have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your time. Stay blessed, stay beautiful, stay well, and until next time, Brown Girls Are Beautiful. Thanks you.